Hello, this is Neil from iPaintGirls.com. You can go there to check out, this is the website there at the bottom. You can go there to check out more free tutorials and stuff that I offer. Right, so let's go ahead and get started. I begin a lot of requests to do more tutorials on faces. And so that is, they want to, how do you draw the face from like the 3/4 view and stuff like that. Well, one of the easiest ways to do this is to first be able to draw a three-dimensional object, a simple three-dimensional object, and flip it around your head. Now, if you're having a hard time doing this at all, then what you're going to want to do is practice with like just a box first. So, for example, draw a box from the front view, and then start trying to imagine flipping that box around, different angles. So let's say I want to kind of view it from, let's say more from the top where I can see some of the top of the box, right? So then you would kind of, let's say, do something like this. Now I can see part of the side and the top. Let's say I just wanted to see part of the top though. Then I can just see part of the top. And if I begin to then turn this around where it's going to come, or more like that, where it's going to come towards me and flip around, then I know this line here will be in the center, right? And that line will be down like that. Now this is exaggerated, but I'm flipping it now like this. So you want to be able to flip some primitive object around in your mind. If you can't do that, then you're probably going to have a really hard time drawing anything ever. So master the box first. And if you can master the box where you can flip that thing around in your head, then you will be able to draw other things from your mind as well, like the human head. So for the human head, the shape I try to imagine flipping around in my mind is something simple like this. It's kind of like, I don't know what to call it, sort of like a teardrop with a cut off end. And then I just draw these two little lines just to help me visualize better where the face is going to be and where the jaw is kind of going to be and everything. So I know the jaw is going to, kind of be within here somewhere if it's a guy. The ears are going to be out here. But I don't worry about that all that now. Right now I just worry about that basic shape, this kind of upside down teardrop with the cut in it, and then these two little lines. But I start adding the details after I can flip the shape around in 3D space. But I do want to kind of show what this object looks like. Let's say, because it's hard to imagine the 3D shape as it is right here. So now let's flip it. Let's say we're going to flip it to where it's kind of facing upwards and away from us a little bit. And so what we're going to do then, why is it doing that? Okay. What we're going to do then is we're going to flip it up this way. Now to do that, you want to imagine how it might look like. And you might want to get build a 3D object or get a 3D object online that's a simplified shape like this, a simplified mannequin head, or just get a mannequin head or build it out of clay or something, and then flip it around different angles and get used to what it looks like from those angles. So what we're going to do then is we know that we're going to kind of see part of the the bottom, this bottom part here. As it's facing up, it's going to kind of have that kind of shape, and then it's going to kind of come like so. And this is why this shape is good, because it already kind of has the shape of the human head to it. And then it's going to kind of come like that. Now I drew a little bit bigger than this one over here, but what's important is that I can kind of see that that same shape. And I might as well go ahead and draw where that's going to be as well. Right, so that's the basic shape, and then you can start kind of changing it a little bit more, how you know it's going to look from this angle. You're going to kind of have more of a shape like this, and then it's going to kind of come like that for the cheeks. Right, so now you can start flesh out that shape just a little bit more than what it was before. Something like so. Now also there's a neck, and the neck pretty much just comes straight off here, so you can also draw the neck just straight off there for now. And then if you want, you can draw the other part here. Imagine lights coming from the top, so you know that you're going to have that kind of shape there, and say it's a guy. Right, so anyway, now you're starting to rotate this around. Now of course this should be smaller because I wanted to match that shape there. So let's go ahead and make it smaller so it's easier to see what's happening here. And what's cool about Photoshop is if you mess up, make it too wide or something, you can just easily change it like that. So now it's changed. Move this up here. Right, so now we got it kind of, the head's tilted back, so we're starting to get an idea what this object looks like when it's turned around at different angles. Notice that when you turn it out like this part here it goes higher. So it goes higher on the head because this is rotating back away from us, so this is going to appear to be higher. And another thing that happens is in relation to where the nose is, the nose gets closer and closer as the head tilts back that way. The nose gets closer and closer to the eyes. Now we're not actually getting into this part yet. We're just dealing with the basic shape, and the lips get closer as well, and then the chin gets larger. As the head goes down this way, the chin gets smaller and smaller until there is no chin. Right, so, but we're not going to be focusing on the nose and mouth and stuff now. I just wanted to mention that, because that's our ultimate goal. Now, what happens if we tilt the head down a little bit then? And I'm going to see how much time I have left. Okay, so I got to try to keep this moving as fast as possible because I don't want to waste too much time. Now, when you kind of start tilting the head down, maybe it's easier to sort of first imagine the top of the head just like a flat plane at first. And then you can kind of draw the line where the overall length might be, and then kind of draw that that shape that we have here going on, that kind of teardrop with the cut off the end. So now we know that we're seeing part of the top of the head here, which we know all this gets shortened because it's going down away from us. And again, you might want to look at I'm losing my train of thought. Sorry. You might want to look at a three-dimensional object, like clay or something. Now, honestly, one of the reason why, if you ever wondered, because I wondered this when I was in art school, is our art teacher had us do sculpting. And I'm like, dude, I want to learn how to paint and draw and stuff. Why are we doing sculpting? And she never actually even explained it to us. Now, keep in mind that as it tilts down, the eyes are actually going to be pretty much still dead in the center, but maybe just a little bit lower. And then your nose is actually going to be much longer, and then your lips, and you're hardly going to have any chin at all. Your chin's going to be very tiny. Just wanted to point that out now for for later. But this is the object we just want to be able to imagine, the shape as we're moving around. So now we can see part of the top of the head, and like the hair, would be there, and you'd be able to see a lot of the top of the hair. Right. So anyway, now we can flip this around in these different ways. And what does it look like then if we flip it around at a three-quarter angle? And that's really the you're going to be drawing the head a lot from a three-quarter angle. So you really want to get used to knowing what that three-quarter angle looks like. Anyway, so back to the hold on a second. I'm going to go ahead and draw this, and then I'll go back to the sculpting thing. So I'm going to kind of draw that same shape I did before, but I want to show how it kind of changes from the three-quarter angle. Because remember how we're drawing these lines here every time? We want to know what happens to those lines. So now we can start seeing a big portion of this line over here. And what that really helps us do is get an example where the face and chin, everything are going to be. So that's why I'm choosing this primitive shape to do this head, because it's easier to move this shape around and visualize where eyes and everything is going to be. The ear is going to come way back over here, but right here, that area right there is the face. That's where you have your eye, your nose, your lips, right? So when you can take the shape and move it around in different angles, it becomes a lot easier to start visualizing and drawing the face. Now this is kind of a extreme three-quarters view. You can have it turned at different angles. So all you have to do if you want it at a slightly different angle is start kind of with that teardrop shape, and then we know that we might just see a little bit of this one over here, but we're not going to see as much of this over here, let's say. And so now we're going to kind of cut in there, and then let's say something like so. Then your eyes would fit in there. Now this means that the nose is going to be more here, and you're going to see a little bit more of that eye over there, and then your mouth, whatever. So that's a little too low, but anyway, you get the idea. Alright, so back to the sculpting then, before I run out of time. So the reason why the art teacher had us do sculpting is because sculpting helps you solidify the three-dimensional form in your mind. If you can sculpt the object and you get used to sculpting it from different angles, when you're sculpting, you're not sculpting from different angles, you're sculpting a whole three-dimensional object, but you can spin it around, and as you're sculpting, you have to keep turning it around at different angles to make sure that you're doing everything right. And once you can sculpt a human head or a human body, well from your mind without any references. Once you get to that point where you can sculpt the human body from your mind, I pretty much guarantee you'll be able to draw it from your mind. So this is why sculpting is very important. So take the time and learn how to sculpt the human figure and other types of figures and stuff from your mind, and it'll really help a lot for different things. Right. So then we just have the top view, and the top view is pretty much like this. That's like total top view. Then you have different angles of top view where you might be able to see just part of the face like that, which mainly you're just going to be able to see like the nose and the eyes are going to set in there. Then you have let's say I'm running out of time. Well, I'm not going to have enough time to show this, but you'd have a 3/4 view from sort of from the top. So you kind of have that same shape, except for now you're going to have this kind of, oops, that's a little too much. Kind of see some of the under part here. And that's like really sloppy and ugly, but you get the idea. Alright, so thank you for watching, and tune in for the next part of the drawing the faces and heads from different angles.